Hello, friends. Let's try it again. On mute. Unmuted now, I'm sure. Yes. Spicy Hellcat. Subscription for 3 months. Thank you so much for subscribing. Welcome to the club. Pop out gal, how's it going, friend? Happy Wednesday, midweek. It's Wednesday, July 1st, so happy Canada Day. I'm on a summer schedule. This is my summer schedule. It is so unpredictable that I literally have like an hour before I have to go. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to jump on stream. We're going to do some painting. We'll do 1 hour of, I guess now it's like 50 minutes of relaxation. No pressure, right? So I'm going to use this time to have sort of a calming, relaxing, just creative, artsy time. And if you want to join along with me, take out your stationery. If not, if you're lurking, if you're at work, if you're busy doing something else and you have this on in the background, then hopefully, you can join us in the chat, or you can always look back at this later and, do some art along with me, which is always super, super fun. You're off Slack and Discord for you don't know how long. Are you not able to access Slack, or is that a personal choice? Totally fine. Moon Sprite, how's it going? Good morning. Yeah, with your audio. Yeah, Pop Out Gal, it was your problem? I'm just kidding. I always love when, you start and you have, spiel, and then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, no one can hear you. Yeah, Canada Day, eh? Awesome. Well, welcome in, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy time zone wherever you are. Hopefully the weather's okay here in the Vancouver area. It's rainy, no surprise. But I think we might have more of a downcast or cloudy day. That's my hope anyway, so fingers crossed. But, either way, it's always time for doing something relaxing and being creative. So you need a mental reset and no distractions. Yeah, we totally get it, Spicy Hellcat. I'm calling you Spicy now. We totally get it. Sometimes we all need it. I did need this, by the way, because my kids have been home from school. This is their summer break, and so they've been home for a week now. And it's a shift. It's different. It's out of routine for all of us, and so it's taken some adjustment. Lots of meltdowns and temper tantrums. Not gonna lie, it's not that easy, but it's also a reminder to try and get to a routine, especially if you have kids. Routine is super, super important. It keeps everyone regulated, everyone, on the same schedule, and everyone knows what's coming up, what's expected, and that kind of thing. So for me not to have streams or time to sort of be creative in my own space without distractions and without, constant sort of needing attention, it's really important as well. And so this is a reminder for me too, to take a little bit of time just to do something for yourself. So that's why I'm here. And hopefully that's why you're here, to hang out, just be in a relaxing space and enjoy, start off July on a relaxing note, on a good note. And hopefully it sort of sets you up for a month of, summer activities, fun events, but also moments where you can kind of relax, sit back, and do something that you enjoy doing for yourself. So, RKO Pen, how's it going, friend? You'll gladly say it was your issue? No, never. I'll only blame you for if you enable me to buy a pen or something like that. Yeah, you need to find your happy place. We get it. Hoping for some chill vibes today. Well, we have 45 minutes, so here's for chill vibes. Okay, so what I wanted to do today was I wanted to, you can kind of see what what I was planning on doing was taking a look at some ink samples that I got recently, doing some painting with them. And so I have my I have my sketchbooks out. I haven't done a lot of painting. June 8th, literally like a month ago. And so, always make time for art. It's so important. And I wanted to show you, I got my Midori X Pen Addict B6 Slim MD notebook. And so I ordered 3. One was a gift for Helen, and one was for me, obviously, and another one I have, just in case. You never know. But I did get my autograph, so yay, I'm happy about that. And this really fun Atlas sticker. If you know kind of situation, right? Like I wouldn't show this to everyone, but anyone who gets it. But yeah, so then I stuck one of Brad's stickers on here as well. And then in the back, I have some other stickers. I wanted to show off the Ink Pony sticker from Lisa, Olive Octopus, another pen addict, and then Eric from Amarillo Stationery. So there's some stickers, and hopefully I can add, maybe 2 or 3 more on here. But what I started using this for was, so I caught up with a few pen friends last week and or over the weekend, and it was really, really fun. And so I thought, why not break in this new notebook by doing some swatches? So, trying out their pens, trying out some inks, also testing the paper and the process of doing it. But we all know MD paper is great. So did some swatches. And then I also swatched the sample inks that I got from Linda and Sheila. And I thought they're really, really cool. And I love how this paper shows off the different properties. Like you can kind of see, shading, chroma shaders, etc. It just looks really cool. So these are the ink samples that I was gifted, and I thought, you know what? I would love to paint with these because they're just so interesting. So yeah, that's how I started using my notebook. I think this might be kind of like my pen show / pen meetups kind of notebook, or if I get a new pen, sample the pen, write with it, etc. So I don't know if you got one of these notebooks. Let me know how you're using it, because I am curious to see how they're being used, because they're super, super cool. You want this ink? Birmingham Pens. Distressed leather. Oh, interesting. That does look like distressed leather, actually. Let me see if I can... there we go. Nice. That's a nice brown. I can see, like, it does look like it kind of has, like, grain to it, like a piece of leather wood. That's very nice. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I think the colors will be beautiful together too, so let's give them a go. The other thing I wanted to use up was I have this TWSBI Eco The Glow inked up with Wearing Ghoul Lost. It only has a tiny bit of ink left, but I thought, you know what, if there's a little bit left, it was a sample, so I no longer have that sample. If there's a little bit of ink left, then I might as well use it for painting. So I think if I can get like a drop or 2 out of here, then I will use that. So we'll see. Maybe, maybe not. Probably not. think it's going to come out. But the other is just a... Actually, you know what I could do? Is pull up some water and then put it in. So if you do have pens that you want to switch up the ink, or you just don't want it anymore, there's a there's a watered down loss. There we go. That will work. So if you have a pen inked up with ink you just don't want to write with anymore, or if there's a little bit left in your pen and you want to clean out the pen and put in a new ink, if you like the ink, if you don't like it, dump it. It's not a big deal. But if you like the ink, or if you think, you know what, that ink would look really cool if I played around with it, then just put it in a paint palette and play around with it for a bit, and then dump it if you want. But, sometimes you use an ink and it's a really nice color, or it's a shade that you may not write with because it's too light, or, for whatever reason you're not into it. But it might be one of those inks that would be really fun to paint with. So it's always kind of worth saving or putting it into a paint palette if you just kind of want to play around with it. You just inked up Lost last week? Amazing. So what happened was I had a sample of Lost and I inked up my TWSBI with a little bit of it. I didn't want to fill it up all the way, but I inked it up a little bit. And then so my family went to Toronto to visit family there. And I ended up I took some ink samples with me, Lost being one of them, because it's so cool. And I ended up gifting it to my brother-in-law because he's just starting to get into fountain pens, curious more than, wanting to jump down the rabbit hole. So I left my ink samples with him because he was like, yeah, I'll use it. He has a glass dip pen. So he's like, yeah, I can use it. So that's why I don't have that sample anymore, which is totally fine. I love, passing on samples and knowing that other people are enjoying them or using them. But that is one of the reasons why I was like, you know what? I only have a little bit in this pen and I do really like this ink, so I'm going to paint with it if I can. Okay, so the other ink samples, I have Tono Lim's Pink of Excitement, which is this last one, Pink of Excitement. It's like a really pretty pink. So we're gonna give that a go. Just a little bit. I don't want to use up all of my samples, but just enough to kind of play around with them a little bit, get to know them. Tono Lim's Cuddling Pink. I'm gonna put it here. This I think is a little bit more mauve purpley. So it's kind of like a pink purple. Then like a true pink. Then I have Tono and Lim's Lost Purple, which actually when I was swatching it, I was a little confused because it has the word purple in it, but it has no purple in the color. So it's called Lost Purple, but it has no purple because there's a whole story behind the line of this ink. So we can look that up as well if you're curious, because I sure was. I was like, what is happening here? But it's very cool, the concept of the ink and the ink line. So I'll show you in a second, but this is Sailor Akamai maybe. And then we have Hosia Ink Pokong. So the Sailor one is really pretty because it's this sort of purpley brown, burgundy, maroon. And then this one, which is like a green chroma shader. So I'll put that in the middle because I will use that last. And this one seems very interesting because even in the ink vial, you can see that it's sort of like a green, like a lime green look to it. So you can see the yellow in there. And I think that's why you get this chroma shading effect. Different layers there. Okay, so let's start. I have my paint brushes, and I think I'm gonna kind of stick to the slimmer round paint brushes. And I'm gonna start with the pinks. So these two Tono limbs, and then I'll add some of the Sailor ink. And then I'll use these two for leaves and sort of accent colors. So using watercolor paper and also MD cream paper. This one is fountain pen ink friendly, not necessarily a painting sketchbook, but because it does handle fountain pen inks really well, you can use it for painting with inks. Just know that, you know, the paper will have the crinkly sort of effect to it, the crinkly sound, and also you'll see water buckling in the paper as well. So I only use one side of the paper for that reason. Just some things to consider if you are using just a regular sort of fountain pen friendly ink book. But watercolor paper totally handles paints and inks super well, so there isn't really a problem with that. All right, so let's see. So that's the pink, which is really, really nice. Always fun to paint with pink inks, especially if you're doing flowers, because they're just like, they lend so well to whatever shape of a flower, and it always looks like a flower. Whereas sometimes, you know, if you're using different colors, they might not always look like that. So let's do that. Maybe here too. Okay. And then we have... Hi, Indy. How's it going? Hi, Fuzzy Turnip. The green has a nice matte look to it. I don't think it's pigmented. It may be. I don't know. I don't know much about this ink or ink line or anything like that. Purple is no longer there. It is lost. Yes, I know. I think that's the sort of play on it. But because I had purple in the name, I guess part of me just assumed there was purple in there, which is like, read the name. Oh, and happy Canada Day, Fuzzy. I'm just catching up on comments. All right, so then this one is the Cuddling pink. Actually, I'm going to start with this over here. Actually, let me put it in here and then move on. Yeah, so my husband has today off, so he is watching the girls. and also just having just doing things with them so I can, that's why I was able to stream. But it's not gonna, I do miss my regular sort of scheduled programming in terms of streaming. So, but I will take what I can get. So no complaints. If I can jump on for like an hour, that's totally fine. I'll take it. So yeah, that's why I'm able to stream today, but also that's why my schedule is sort of up and down and unpredictable, and it will just sort of happen when it happens, which is okay. It's just the summer. We'll be back in September. So this purple, right, looks a little darker and more grayish, I guess, against the cream paper, which is interesting. And also just something to keep in mind when you're using, you know, different colored paper or different textures and stuff like that. So it's kind of nice to compare the two on different paper to see how they actually look. And also some inks will respond differently depending on what paper you use them on. So let me just do that. Swatch that. I think I might need more of this. So this was Cuddling Pink. Okay. Let's add a little bit here. Okay, cool. So that's the pink. The second pink, more like purple. And then we have Sailor Akame. So I think for that, I'm just gonna add, it's gonna add it like as an accent because it's sort of a darker color, and I don't want it to take away from the lighter pinks and stuff that I'm using. So I think I'll just kind of add it in. And same here. It's a really nice color though, in terms of like an ink. It's kind of nice as an accent color, I think. Let's add it in here. Tell your husband thank you. Yes, I know I did. He was like, do you not want to stream today? I was like, yes, I do. Can you watch them? Because it's fine. I can stream with my kids around. It's just, even if they're distracted, they'll come up and want my attention for something or other. So it's just one of those things. I think this is going to be a watered down version of Lost, which is okay. Maybe it's just something that I add in, like, to brighten up what I have here already. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I put it in here a little bit. It's okay. I'm just gonna a little too watered down, but it's okay. All right, then we have Lost Purple and this one. So I'm gonna look up this ink called Pocong. See what this is about. Hosia Ink Studio. So it may just be one of those sort of like random kind of inks. Okay. Hosia Ink Studio is an independent Chinese ink maker renowned for its dynamic, multi-shading, chroma shading fountain pen inks. There we go. Cool. And then the other one is Tono and Limbs. Lost Purple. Let's see if I can. Okay, so found it here. At first glance, the color might seem purple, question mark. But when you blend it with water, its meaning becomes clear. The muted purple softly appears depending on the paper. It's truly a purple that's lost in the ink. That is so cool. I love that concept. Yeah, okay, I see it. That is so cool. Very interesting. Yeah, I don't think I've seen this bottle anywhere before. It is very, yeah, I love when there's like a concept to an ink. It's like, okay, whatever. Like you'll see the ink is very muted, right? Like that's literally the swatch of it. And if you try and write with it, I'm sure, actually I did try and write with it. There we go. It's like barely there. Very non-legible to my standards. Definitely not an ink I would put in a pen, if that's what it looks like if you write with it in a pen. But I love the concept of it, and I love how, they're kind of pushing it to just like there's a story there and they're trying something. And I think that's like super, super cool. So yeah, that's the ink in my palette. Right? So it's like I can see it's like bluish, gray. I can see the purple in there slightly. And then once you paint with it or once you put it on paper, it's just very muted. Oops. It does just kind of disappear. So dark on palette, light on paper. That's very interesting. I don't know, I'm just going to kind of put it in here. Maybe in there. And then if you have a lot of the ink, like if you're putting down a lot of ink, so if you're swatching it or something like that, it looks very pretty, like darker. But then as you sort of spread it out, you can see that it's actually really light. So when it dries, I'm sure we'll see some of that chroma shading happening. So cool. You can see it here as it's drying too. Awesome. All right, and then our last one is this green. Maybe I'll use a different brush. Oops. So that's wow. And this too, like it looks, like I said, it looks really bright, like lime in the palette and in the ink vial, right? It looks very bright. But as it dries, it dries a little bit lighter and also just not as like limeish, like not as yellowish. I don't know. You see a little bit more of that blue teal coming through. So I think that's cool. Just put a few more leaves there. Okay. Cool. It'll be very interesting to see how, especially these last two inks, the Tono and Limbs and Hosia Ink. I don't know, I keep pronouncing it differently every time I say it. It's fine. Kind of interested to see how they dry on these two papers. Watercolor paper, being stark white and allowing for more absorption and water content. But then, MD paper kind of sits on there for a little bit as it starts to dry. And I wonder just how much of the chroma shading we'll see. And you can already kind of see, actually, as it's drying. It's looking less lime green and more like a sort of muted version of that. Very cool. Very interesting, for sure. Not necessarily a palette that works together, which is fine. And remember, you know, if you get some sample inks, play around with them. They don't have to fit into a palette. They don't have to match. It can just be a way of playing around with them and exploring them, right? They don't have to coordinate with each other. So that's cool. I'm gonna let this dry here. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. And then this, I think the green might take just a little bit longer. But that's okay. Let's put those here. Yeah, very interesting. I do like Lost. So even though that's a watered down version of it, you can kind of see the teal and green ocean vibes. That's very pretty. You have to find the right paper, like solving a mystery. You know what? That is kind of interesting. You have to keep using different papers until you find one that shows it off really, really well. Yeah. Or you have to use it in like a double broad nib, or a stub or something like that, just to be able to read it. Hi, Fountain Pen News. How's it going, friend? I hope your week has been going okay. Hi, Needle Girl. How are you? All right, so let's see. Still kind of drying. If you joined late, what I'm doing is I'm just painting with ink samples that I got over the weekend from a couple of friends, and just trying them out. This is also my MD Pen Addict B6 Slim, which I started using for just like swatching and writing with different pens that I was trying at the meetup. Ooh, this one I thought was really, really cool. What a cool ink. Tono Lim Sunset and Space. Look at the chroma shading. That is like a teal tan, beige, taupe. Is that it? Teal taupe. But how cool is that? Right? That ink definitely piqued my interest. What else? Yeah, I really like the Stationary Universe. First Blossom, very, very pretty. And then these are the swatches of the ink samples, which are very, very cool. I think they Fuzzy, you're right. They do work together in a way. It's just kind of finding that balance between the different shades. And the more I see Lost Purple, the more I just love it. It is so cool. Definitely one of those inks I probably wouldn't write with, but it's just really pretty. and different too, I think. It's not like a, you know, straight up pink or blue or green or whatever, where you kind of like, oh, this is what it is. It's definitely one of those interesting inks that you have to kind of play around with and find the right paper for sure. Very cool. And as it dries, you can see more and more of what is actually in that ink color, where you kind of like, oh, that's like a blue, gray, purpley. But then there's like yellow, a little bit of green that's coming out now, especially on MD paper. And then on watercolor paper, again, you kind of see that yellow tint there. Very cool. I like it. I'm gonna write these ink names here. Guide sheet. Okay, so this is Tono and Limbs. Pink of Excitement. Then we have Tono and Limbs, Cuddling Pink. Then we have Sailor Akame or Mai. Tono and Limbs. Lost Purple. And Hosia Ink. Pokon. Almost dry. I think this one is pretty much dry. I'm just gonna do that and do that. And that. Thanks for the follow, Gadget. Welcome in. Yeah, I do love the colors. And I do wonder if the Hosia ink is like more of a pigmented kind of ink. Just takes a little bit longer to dry. I mean, I put down a little bit more than the other inks, but it just feels like it sort of sits there for a little bit longer. But that's okay. All right, so I'm going to use a pigment ink. This is my Kakimori black pigment ink and Kakimori stainless steel. Whoa, words. Stainless steel dip nib. My Zodiac pins holder. I'm just going to add a little bit of detail. just to break up the shapes a little bit. Thank you, just found you. Oh, awesome. I'm glad you found me. You found a whole community. And a bunch of fun people who like to just be creative and do artsy things. And feel free to throw in chat what you're kind of into stationery wise, what you like to do, etc. Or if you have any questions too, I'm sure chat can jump in and help and share what they like to use. We don't have any problems doing that, for sure. Yeah, you love the colors, Papa Gal? Same. I really do too. Yeah, watch your wallet. Hide your wallet. I love how the pink, I'm going to call this like a purple, but even though it's called pink, cuddling pink, but I like how the pink, the purple, and the sort of burgundy brown colors work so well together. And then having sort of accent or like secondary colors is really fun too. It just throws some interest in there. Now I know Pop-Out Gal is watching the World Cup, as am I. If you are too, let us know. That's kind of the biggest thing that's happening right now. Aside from Canada Day for Canadians today. Yeah, that green. So that green, I did blot some of it, but this green I just kind of left alone. And it's pretty much dry now, but look how the ink pools in the places where it's sort of just sat. And like now you can kind of see like rings or areas of how the ink has dried. Very cool, right? Like it's super, super interesting. Very interesting ink. Green too. Because it's not as bright as I might have expected, just based on what the ink kind of looked like in the vial and also when I put it in the palette. It's not as limeish, yellowish kind of green. So, very cool. And then this, I think, is dry. Yeah. What wallet? Does not exist. You have not missed a game yet, Pafalgal. That's awesome. I think I may have, like the group stages, I may have missed a couple of games that were like on super late because of the East Coast time zone and just visiting family and just being really, really tired. But no, not since then. Not since I got back, and I'm on West Coast time zone, which is a lot easier for some of the later games sometimes. They can just they can go on and on, really, it feels like. So, yeah, I'm definitely dialed in now. And that's another reason why I really wanted to do this is sometimes, like, especially when you're watching a competitive tournament or something like that, you really feel that adrenaline, anticipation, that kind of feeling where you're just like, even if maybe the stakes aren't as high for you because you may not be rooting for any of those countries, or, you don't really have like a favorite. But still, you get caught up in the emotion of it all. And one of the saddest things is to see the losing country and team and their reaction, because they know they're going home, and this is sometimes like the biggest thing for them, and it's really sad. So it's like sometimes we need this reprieve of like doing something to relax ourselves and get back into like, okay, like ground yourself in something, because it can be a lot. Sometimes hard to manage all those emotions too, and the adrenaline dump when a tournament or a match is over, and you're kind of like, it's done, it's over with. Relief or disappointment, whatever the feeling is, but it's over. Gadget, you love fountain pens in general. You're an ink addict. Yeah, welcome. Still finding favorite stationery, TRP, Koji paper. Oh, awesome. How are you liking Koji paper? I have not tried that. You also love watercolor painting and many hobbies. Yeah, the Kakamari Nev, yeah. Yeah, awesome. Check out my other videos too. Today is a kind of a short stream. It's a little out of the norm. But normally I do like to do ink painting, and also watercolor painting. So this is a watercolor painting, and just kind of using different stationery tools and supplies and stuff like that. I like talking about different types of paper, different types of mediums. So yeah, you're definitely in the right place among all of us. Yeah, Fuzzy, I've heard of Koji paper, and I think, yeah, it was Sterling ink. Okay, that's where I heard it from. But I didn't get to try it, and I was like super curious about it. So, oh, you're trying to multitask with work too. No problems. You'll get it. You'll get the hang of it. And also, what is work? But no, it's all good. Yeah, replacement paper. Yeah. Okay, so far you like it. That's awesome. One ink bleed through when you're swatching. Oh, it's more cream in color. Oh, okay. I love cream paper. I have found over time of using cream paper, yeah, it just grew on me, I guess. And then I don't know, with the whole TRP sort of inconsistencies and stuff like that, I just kind of leaned into using MD cream paper and realized how good it really is. So yeah, cream is really, really nice. That's cool. Very nice. May not be a popular opinion, but I prefer the 68, yeah, to 52. Not an unpopular opinion, because I have heard the same from other people as well. Just, thicker, sturdier TRP is kind of nice. Um, I have been using the, well, actually, tried out the Take a Note planner last year. And while I didn't end up using it for the full year, I did kind of like it's TRP, but it's slightly thicker. Is it 68 or 70, something like that, GSM? But just like it feels a little bit sturdier, and you know, yeah. So it is kind of nice too, especially if you're doing swatches or you're kind of playing around with more ink or you're putting down a little bit more. Sometimes, you know, it's nicer to have that thicker paper. I have some swatches on IG. Oh, awesome. Oh, from the St. Louis St. Louis St. Louis pen show. Those are Koji paper. Okay. Oh, Inky Addiction. Okay, cool. Yeah. No, that's fine. I'll have to remember that. Let me write that down. Inky Addiction. Sweet. Very cool. Yeah, I'll have to take a look later. Thanks for sharing that. Did you have fun at the show? I know a few people have went to the St. Louis Pen Show. Feel free to let us know what you got. Or how you kind of found it, and if you had a good time. As I sort of wrap up my stream, because I don't want to leave, but I do kind of have to. But let's take a final look at these inks. And you let me know what you kind of, like, what stands out to you? Which ink would you write with? Which ink would you kind of just play around with? Because for me, that's Lost Purple. I don't think I would write with this. I think the inks that I would normally be drawn to are a little bit more neutral, earthy. So the Sailor one is kind of up my alley. But these two, Tono and Limbs, Pink of Excitement and Cuddling Pink, are really nice. Like, they're just, like, very pretty. Spring, summer vibes, you know, bright. Not super bright, but just a nice vibe to them. And they work really well together, so that's kind of a plus. I don't know if this pink would be, like, to write with this pink. I don't know if I tried. Yeah, so I used my Sailor Hokuro Fude nib to write with Cuddling Pink. Boop. So it does have that pink vibe, but it's more like a purpley color to me. And it's not too dark when you write with it, but you know, when you put it down as a swatch or something. Oh no, I didn't. Did I? Pink of Excitement. Oh, I guess I didn't. I didn't write with it, but I have a feeling the Pink of Excitement would be somewhere along the lines of this tone in terms of darkness, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think it would be a super dark ink to write with. I think it would be similar to this in lightness. And I find that with some or most of the Tono and Limbs inks that I've tried, at least, that they are kind of on the lighter side when it comes to writing with them. They're not as saturated or, you know, as dark as some other inks might be. But they are really, really fun to paint with for that reason, because I can use, you know, black on top or an ink on top of those inks and still be able to see the contrast of the ink underneath with the pigment I've laid down on top of it. They don't compete a lot. They don't compete as much. And so that's why they kind of work well with painting or, you know, using them for swatching or something like that. Because they're not super dark. Yeah, you like the Cuddling Pink? Yeah, that's nice. especially if you are into like mauve, purples, those types of shades. You had too much fun? Oh, it was your first show. Yay, that's awesome. Well, spending too much just means you got a lot of goodies. Or you got the goodies that you wanted, even if they were a little pricier. I don't know if you watch the Pen Addict Twitch stream gadget, but I think Brad did his show haul from the St. Louis Pen Show yesterday on stream. You should watch the VOD if you haven't. But there was a bougie purchase that he made that made me just laugh for a little bit because one of us, right? Like we all have these tendencies where if we see something we like, even though it could be a little pricier or just like doesn't make sense for, what we use, we're like, I don't know what I would use that for, and yet I love it so much. I need it. I think we all kind of fall for that sometimes, and hey, you know what? This is a hobby. And if you can afford it, like if it's within a reasonable budget or however you kind of want to put it, then why not? Why not? Especially when you're at a show, it's like it's part of the experience. And especially for me, everything that I get at a show always has that memory attached to it, right? Like I'll always remember where I was, what the circumstance was when I got that item. And the same can't be said for when you purchase online or something like that, where you're just kind of like, I want this, let's buy it. But when you're in person and, you're talking to the vendor or you're kind of looking at something and it catches your eye and you just have to have it, it kind of has a story attached to it because of that. So I always think it's kind of worth it for that reason. Yes, he's on at 2 Eastern today. And usually my regular stream, I've tried to kind of stream beforehand and then just kind of jump over to Brad's stream. But yeah, July and August are just irregular for me. And they'll kind of be this way, which, it is what it is. So I'll probably see you over on Brad's stream. And I'll see you in the other streams. And if you don't follow All of Octopus, do that as well, or Ink Dependence Mike. Yeah, do that. And, we'll kind of see each other in other streams as well, which is super fun. Get to share, our thoughts and what we're using on other streams as well. So, yeah, to create a list or budget, yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you have a little bit of wiggle room, or if you kind of know, if I don't get this pen or if I don't get certain things, then I do have a little bit of space to get spontaneous. That's the word, spontaneous stuff. Like you can just kind of, because you can't always have a list or budget for things that you may not be aware of, right? So, and that's kind of the magic of pen shows too, is that like, you are like, you're exposed to new things. You get to try new things, things that you never knew existed before sometimes, tools that you didn't think would be available. And, or pens where you're just like, I love this. It's exactly what I wanted. So yeah, all to say, shows are one of those things that you can prepare for, but you can't 100% plan for sometimes. So yeah, All of Octopus for sure. Lisa's awesome. World Cup News, Congo scored on. Okay, I have to go. Because this is going to be drama. This is going to be drama central in this match, but you're able to sit on the talk with Brad. Oh, awesome. And you took a class with All of Octopus. That is amazing. Yeah, it's a lot to take in. That's awesome. I'm glad that you had a good experience, that you'll go again next year. And as overwhelming as it may be, overwhelming or just like a lot to take in, like you said, a lot to process and go through in your mind afterwards too. It's good. It's good that you had a good experience. And your first stationery fest next July. Oh, that's awesome. That is so cool. Yeah, super, super fun. I love that there are stationery fests and these types of events happening and popping up too, and like, everywhere, like all different types of places, um, and not necessarily exactly where pen shows are happening. So in some cases, yes, but yeah, it's just really cool that we can access pen shows, but also craft and stationery events as well. Yeah. Okay, friends, I'm just babbling on because I don't want to leave, but I do have to. So thank you so much for joining on this sort of last minute spontaneous Wednesday morning stream for me anyways. But yeah, thanks for being here. And if you missed any part of the stream, check out the VOD. I'll probably put it on YouTube. It's kind of, yeah, we'll see. But I will see you all over on Instagram as well from Corolla. I'll try to update if, I have a sort of a streaming schedule worked out that works. Otherwise, I'll see you in other streams. And happy Canada Day. Have a great rest of your week. Whatever you're kind of up to and celebrating and watching. And thanks so much for being here. Go play with stationery. Be kind to others. Be kind to yourself. I appreciate you, friends. Have a good one.